Cheers everyone, and welcome to my channel. Community content is on the menu yet again today, and as previously, it's for SpellForce 3. However, we won't be discussing the community patch in today's video. Instead, let's take a look at a more theme-based mod pack for the SpellForce 3 base game made by community members Neox and Omariolo, along with a few others. The Lord of the Rings mod pack. The name says it all really. By installing this mod pack, you'll be able to transform EO into some of the most well-known battlefields of Middle-earth with some neat extras included among them. The mod itself includes 4 different types of content, so let's check them all out. The first big change happens to the human faction within SpellForce 3. All the units, their names, icons and models have been changed to fit a Lord of the Rings theme. They are now the armies of Rohan and Gondor. I will show screenshots of the units in-game as well as their portraits on screen throughout the video, since the makers of this mod have really put a lot of work into them. All of the portraits were hand-drawn and unit models changed by them to fit the overall aesthetics, which is, in my opinion, pretty impressive. Keep in mind that these unit changes affect your game globally, meaning that the units will look the same even when you play SpellForce 3 unless you uninstall the mod first. That being said, these changes are visual only and don't affect any stats, which means that you can still play multiplayer with other players while running this mod and there won't be any compatibility issues. The next 2 changes are not so much thematic, but they still help you immerse yourself in the mod while playing it. Those are the neutral team color mod, which essentially does what the name suggests, and a third-person view mod, very similar to how it was in previous SpellForce titles. I'll be showing some footage of it in the background right now. If you enjoy playing your strategies from behind your character, this is the way to do it within SpellForce 3. The view itself can easily be toggled by pressing this button here, and while active, the selected unit can be controlled with the standard WASD keys as well as your mouse. Keep in mind, however, that this mod is very taxing on your PC, so frame rates might suffer unless you have top-notch hardware. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this mod, the episode maps, where I have to sadly say that they are unfinished due to various issues with the SpellForce 3 editing software which prevented the makers of this mod from completing them. According to the main driving force behind the mod, the main issues were a very much limited map size and asset count that can be on the map at any given time, as well as a navigation mesh size limitation, meaning that the whole map wouldn't be covered in said navigation mesh, which again means that parts of the map without the mesh are unreachable, or simpler, units can't walk on them. The details of these issues are on the wiki page of this mod, which I'll link to at the top of the description if anyone wants to know more. With that being said, episode 1, titled Helm's Deep, was finished and is fully playable. It functions as a 1 or 2 player co-op RTS Horde defense map and stays incredibly true to its depiction in the movies. The second episode is titled Isengard, and it's there where the aforementioned editor issues first arose. It was supposed to be a conquer style map where you would conquer parts of Isengard until eventually reaching the tower, climbing it and fighting a boss fight at the end. Yes, that's right, the tower itself was completely designed and accessible to the player. Sadly, the map is not playable, but just look at some of the details on it. They even went as far as to make sure the indents and windows on the tower are identical as possible to the ones in the movies. Some changes had to be obviously made to accommodate for gameplay, but everything is still very much recognizable. Episodes 3, 4 and 5 were called Osgiliath, the Black Gate and Minas Tirith respectively. Sadly, there is no footage of these maps, but according to the mod makers, they planned to design them true to the movies and books with gameplay that reflected that. Osgiliath even had a concept layout for the map done already before the whole thing eventually had to be scrapped due to lack of support from the official developers. More about those maps can be read on the same wiki page I mentioned earlier if you're interested in it. Currently, the project is in a sort of limbo. Due to the engine limitations, the makers of the mod simply cannot finish it, which is a shame seeing as how much work they had already put into such an ambitious project. So Grimlore Games, please fix so it can be finished. I would still recommend checking out what is available though, because it certainly is a lot of fun that you can either play alone or with your friends. The link to that, as well as an exclusive interview the mod maker had with the Tolkien modding community over on ModDB, can be found in the video's description as well. And while you're down there, why not check out the official SpellForce Discord community? We always enjoy newcomers. That will be everything from me. If you enjoyed the content, like, share and subscribe, it's always very much appreciated. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.